Hello, this is OverlordBou, back with another ship review video, and today we'll be looking at the upcoming Russian super ship, the Admiral Ushakov. Now, like the previous super ships, the Ushakov will be available for bidding in the 11.10 auction, running from December 1st to the December 5th. Now, the minimum bid is starting at 100 million credits, with the winners paying the lowest winning bid. And the number of lots is 500 for all score servers combined. Now, as a reference, the winning lowest bid has been around 250 million credits for the previous super ship, so just take that into account. Now, the Ushakov will finally be released in patch 12.2 as a super ship of the Russian battleship line. Remember, you need 3 tier 10s researched, including the Kremlin, before you can buy her. Now, if you're interested in getting the Ushakov, I'd strongly suggest waiting for patch 12.2. Buying her through the auction will be at least 3 times as expensive for just a few months early access. Unless you have a crap ton of credits lying around, I don't really recommend bidding in the auction, but totally up to you. But again, you can just wait for a few months before buying her. Now, I'll be going over my recommended captain build, module setup, followed by the ship stats, and finally, I'll give my thoughts about her performance overall, and then we'll just watch the replays, and I'll talk about the replays and what I could have done better whenever that time comes up. Now, first up is the captain build, and upgrades will be shown on the top right. You guys can pause at any time to look at the builds if you're interested. It is built a little bit different compared to the Kremlin. Since this ship is bigger than the Kremlin, I would suggest more of a build on torpedo protection side, since you're going to be most likely going to be a torpedo magnet in this thing. So, but you can always build it as the Kremlin. You can perfectly build it as fine, totally up to you. But I would take the torpedo protection rather than the turret traverse, because the ship already does have a fast turret traverse. Now let's talk about the ship stats, starting with her hull and survivability, which will be shown on the top right. Now, the Ushakov has a 32mm bow/stern with a 60mm and 180mm icebreaker bow and stern, with a 450m belt armor with a 60mm deck armor, and has a whopping 135,300 HP pool. Wow. Now, with this massive hull, it is the largest BB to date, with a 36% torpedo belt. If you put in the torpedo protection, it makes it to 46%, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. If I am wrong there, I would appreciate it. Now, the Ushakov's hull is basically a scaled up version of the Kremlin, as we call it, just a super Kremlin or super Kremi. Now, it has the same armor layout and general thickness, and the most notable change is the plus 27k HP, pretty much a 25% HP increase over her predecessor, the Kremlin. Now, however, her larger hull size and vulnerability to DCP partially negates this advantage, since you are limited to 5 DCPs throughout a match, as long as you have the survivability, pretty much a super damage. Now, she will still tank absurd amounts of damage, often reaching to 4 million potential damage with efficient healing, which in the second match I do. So the second replay match, you'll be seeing I'll getting over 4 million potential damage. Now, next up is her main guns, which are 3 triple 457mm/55 guns with a 21.3 kilometer range, 33-second base reload, a 30-second 180 degree turret traverse, and can fire 29 degrees off of the bow and 27 degrees off of the stern. Very nice kiting angles, very nice kiting angles. Like, very good angles to be able to angle yourself. Very good indeed. Now, the HE shell damage is 6,500 with a 76mm HE pen and a 45% fire chance and 121k HE DPM. Now, the AP shell damage is a 14.5k AP shell damage. I almost said 145,000. I apologize. It's 14.5k AP shell damage with a 31mm overmatch and a 45 through 60 degree ricochet angle and a 270k AP DPM, which is the same as the Kremlin. Now, the funny button of this ship, which is pretty much similar to the Satsuma, but for this one, it gives a 10% range boost, a 30% buff to the dispersion, with a 25-second active time. It requires 12 shell hits / near misses to activate. Now, interesting enough, with this particular funny button, or the F key, you don't have to fire as often. For some reason, I was noticing that with the Satsuma, you had to fire like over and over really quick. With this particular ship, the if you don't get to the 12 shots quickly, you can actually do a little pauses in your shot. You don't have to keep firing over and over and over. So it does give you more time to be able to get the boost. It actually gives you more time to be able to do that. So it's very nice that they did that. Now, again, like I said, it is similar to the Satsuma's funny button. Now, aside from the funny button, now the dispersion is going to be shown on the top right, so you guys can take a look at that while I talk about this. Now, the Ushakov has the same, pretty much the same exact guns as the Kremlin, including the Russian accuracy curve, which means being accurate at close ranges, but wildly inaccurate past 15 kilometers, as you guys have probably noticed throughout this replay. Now, her funny button works similar to the Satsuma, giving her better dispersion for it's for one salvo, but if you have adrenaline rush and you're getting lower on health, you actually do get it to where you can do technically 2 salvos for the funny button on this one. So just take note that you are able to do 2 funny buttons with this if you do have adrenaline rush active and you take the reload module that I suggested in the build. So just taking aware of that. Now, at longer ranges, it gives her roughly the thunder dispersion. Under 10 kilometers, you get the petrol accuracy. Now, basically, it makes Ushakov's gunnery more bearable every 4 to 6 salvos. Now, overall, Ushakov's guns aren't well suited for the top tier meta. Most matches she'll struggle to hit her targets at longer distance if she even has the range to hit them. They become acceptable if she's allowed to close within 14 kilometers, but with this much HP, you are able to kind of just brute force your way into closer situations. As you can see in this particular match, I'm kind of just brute forcing myself. As you can see, I'm pushing the Mika. I'm kind of moving up over on the right side of the map since the other side was really kite heavy. I kind of just am forcing myself over here, as you'll see throughout the match. You'll see what I'm doing. Now, again, as I was saying, the guns do become a lot more acceptable and a lot better if you're allowed within the 14 kilometer range, but that's difficult to do safely in randoms. It mostly depends on what flank you're on, if they're pushing, if they're being aggressive, if they're being really kitey. But with the funny button, it does help fix the gunnery issue, only for those out, but not overall. Now let's talk about her secondaries. Now, the secondary armaments, you get 8 quad 130mm/58 guns with 1900 HE damage, with a 4.5 second reload, a 7.3 kilometer range with an 8% fire chance. You do get normal secondary dispersion, aka not very good. As usual, it's not worth investing in the Ushakov secondary. So while on paper, the long range meta and the fact that she needs to invest everything into reducing the DOT damage, I mean, it's not really worth upgrading her secondaries. Moving on to the anti-air defense, you have 6 inner plus 6 outer flat clouds. 12 flat clouds, by the way. Very impressive there. I'll move on. I'll be talking about that a little bit later on. Now, for the long range, you get DPS of the anti-air is 221. The mid is 466, and the near is 343. Now, Ushakov has one of the strongest flak defenses in the game, only surpassed by CVs and cruisers with DFA active. Now, her continuous anti-air is also very strong, but in the end, it doesn't even matter as much as Super CV's cannon will routinely ignore her anti-air. She becomes a massive target for torpedo bombers and dive bombers, wreaking havoc on her limited DCP since you do have a limit of 5. Now, the spotting alone will force Ushakov to fight at long range, something she isn't well suited for. But if you're concerned about your stats, avoid CV matches whenever possible. But again, having that really strong anti-air is also really nice too. If you're pretty much with the rest of your team, you can just combine it and do a lot of defense there. Moving on to the airstrike depth charges, you do get a maximum of 2 depth charges. Now, the number of bombs in these attacks are 2, with the damage being 4,900, a reload of 30 seconds, and a range of 11 kilometers. Now, you do get the standardized ASW airstrikes. Ushakov gets the same airstrikes as other super cruisers. Well, pretty much gets the same as other super ships. My bad, super battleships. Now, the 11 kilometer range is very useful, though you will need multiple drops to kill a submarine. Moving on to the maneuverability, max speed is 30 knots, a turning radius of 1290 meters, with a 21.6 second rudder shift. Turning the ship is literally a lie. This thing takes forever to turn, as you can see throughout most of this video. This thing takes a while to turn, but at the same time, this thing is really massive. So it kind of makes sense on why it takes so long to turn. But yes, but pretty much a funny saying, we don't need to turn the ship. We don't need to turn the ship, comrade. We just sail straight to Berlin. Yes, yes. We don't need to sail in the ocean. We just sail straight to the land. Yes, yes, comrade. Yes, yes. Now, moving on to the concealment, the surface detection is 7.8 kilometers base, with the aerial being 16.4 kilometer base, with the best surface detection being 14.4 kilometers, and the best air detection being 13.3 kilometers. There is nothing subtle about this ship, as you're detected from the moon. If we all thought the GK had really bad dispersion, well, this now takes the cake on that one. It is definitely very difficult to get close without getting spotted, and most enemies will focus you once that happens because this thing looks intimidating as heck. Just seeing this ship in a match can really be terrifying because everyone knows of Kremlins. Kremlins are already like kind of like a fear ship when they start pushing in or being tanky. This just puts it on a whole different level. It's pretty much a super Krem, so definitely that. Finally, we're moving on to the consumables that are available to this ship. You do get the Russian fast damage control team, which is 4 charges base. You do get 5 if you build into the superintendent. I always forget what it's called. It has a 10-second immunity period with a 40-second reload time. You also get the Russian repair party, which has 1 less charge. Other BBs, it heals 14 through 17% of the total HP. 3 charges, 4 with the submarine. Sorry, 4 with the emergency repair expert. And it has an 80-second reload time. It has the same consumable loadout as the Kremlin, so you can just take that to know. Now, let's talk about her overall performance. Now, overall performance, I'd say the skill floor is pretty low. I don't think this ship is overly really difficult to play. Now, the skill ceiling is pretty low to medium. And I'll talk about why in a little bit. Now, the Ushakov is Russian's newest super BB, the ultimate form of Russian bias. Blessed with Stalin needing armor, she can drive into the entire navies and one-shot them pretty much with just the anti-air guns. It's pretty biased. Her main guns are pretty much, you know, guided by the hand of Stalin, have nuclear bombs attached to the ammo. So pretty much any shell that hits is totally gonna do a dev strike, instantly blow them up, blow up a whole grid square. Now, while that's what a lot of players want to believe, Ushakov is actually one of the it's not one of the strongest super ships, but it's definitely not one of the it's pretty much maybe one of the weakest in terms of what it's actually capable of. But at the same time, as you can see through these replays, I am able to do a lot. So saying this thing is weak, I don't really think it's super weak, but at the same time, if you're just being farmed, you're definitely going to be suffering for sure if you're just going to be farmed like the whole time. You do have a ridiculous amount of HP. Ridiculous amount. It is pretty insane in that regard. Now, she also doubles down as the Russian baby playstyles. She fails to correct their weaknesses, holding them back in the high tier meta. Now, the funny button doesn't activate often enough to offset her base dispersion issues. Like Kremlin, Ushakov excels at fighting under the 14 kilometers. Pushing is her specialty, tanking for her team, and forcing lesser enemies away. Once in position, it takes forever to root this ship out. Now, the only problem is finding the right time and a team to support. Now, overall, I would say the Ushakov is somewhat of a paper tiger. The 130k HP pool looks menacing without capable guns. That makes her more target practice than a combat ship. Now, with all the CVs and high DPM crews running around, she will definitely struggle to get in her ideal combat ranges. And that's not to say she's a bad ship. She can perform well in the right situations, but the meta will rarely let her shine, sadly. Now, it's better to keep her for ranks where being an unkillable pillbox will win you many more matches. Now, if a random does see poor to about average, and for rank that stays above average due to their less targets being able to farm you. Now for clan battles, I can see potential use. Being an unkillable tank is very useful for pushing. However, she has a valuable super ship slot, and Kremlin already does the job fairly well. And also seeing the fact that if there are like uses of like 2 super ships are allowed, you'll see teams running Zorkies or Annapolises or Condes instead, which can easily just farm the living heck out of this ship. So just take the note as well. Now, I believe I made an error earlier. At this point, we're just going to be watching the rest of the replays. I do have 2 replays for you all to enjoy, so we're just going to be watching those while I just talk about the ship and such. Now, I think I did make an error earlier when I was talking about the potential... No, I didn't. I was thinking I made a potential mistake with, like, the reload and being able to use the funny button twice. But pretty much if you have the reload module, so pretty much reload module in the 6th slot, and then you have Adrenaline Rush, yeah, you can. You'll get it low enough to where you're able to get 2 funny button in, the 2 salvos in for 1 funny button, but be like really close, like really close. It should be, but somebody will have to like test it for me if you guys are able, if you guys want to test it, if you guys ever get the ship, or I'll just take you into a training room and just test it, and I'll just do a pinned message if I figure it out. But yeah, so the first replay that I did in this, I did really well. Now, the thing is, for this particular match, you guys are going to see I suffered fighting the submarine in this particular match. I do end up dying in the end to it, which you guys will see, but I did a really bad job trying to figure out where he was going. The submarine player did a really good job of weaving and wiggling around, so pretty much whenever he launched torps, he wasn't going in the same direction as he was, and our DD kind of died early. That's why most of the time when you guys are watching me do content, I'm always playing DDs. And one of the main reasons is because if your DD dies early, you are going to suffer. You are going to suffer super hard. So normally, you don't see me play many BBs unless I'm in a div. If I do play cruisers, I'll normally play a cruiser that has radar or like good sonar or some kind of RPF on it to be able to hunt down DDs or submarines if I need to. But normally you'll never see me playing battleships alone, because if your DD dies early in a match and you have to deal with a DD or a submarine on your flank, you are going to get absolutely destroyed. You can play your best, you can try to hold the flank as much as you can, but if you have no spotting on those DDs, and the DD or sub can easily go to your flank or go to your broadside without you knowing, and easily just pop you with all them torps, and you're done. That's also another reason why I say take the torpedo protection on the Ushakov as well. One of the main factors is the fact that since this ship is so massive, it's going to be a torpedo magnet. Getting that little extra percentage of torpedo protection will really help you in the end with that regard. Definitely, for sure. But again, you can build this however you like, but I do try to build this ship more for the tanky side, just because it's now the largest ship in the game. And if you're not careful, you're just going to get farmed out, and you're going to suffer for sure. But yeah. I'm just drinking some juice, so my bad on that one. Now in this match, you're going to see me making a lot more mistakes, and since I'm able to call those mistakes out, it would definitely help you guys out as well to be able to see them. Yeah, I'll admit, I don't think my aim is the best in this one. I will just say that. That first match you guys saw, I believe I performed a lot better, but oh, and there's a submarine. I can't hit him because I don't have long enough depth charges, so that's a disaster. But luckily enough, he wasn't the best aiming with these, so I was able to kind of like turn myself away, and he kept on missing them, luckily enough. But yeah, you guys are going to see what I mean throughout most of this match, because I had to play really passive. Normally, I would have just been a little bit more aggressive, especially with how much HP you have. Like, this ship, I find it a lot more fun than, like, a Hanover, because it's a lot more tankier. But again, if you guys prefer, like, a Hanover or Assassin, you can. But I love playing Kremlin, especially with a div, like playing Kremlin with a div. So if you have like an Ushakov with like your div mates having like a DD support and a cruiser, the ship will do really well as a good flank anchor or a good push anchor, just because of how much HP it is. Nice of it. Nice, nice, nice. One thing I wish I was able to get a replay on is a match with a CV. I'm really interested to see those the 12 flak that this thing has. Getting that 12 flak airburst going off onto a CV, it's gonna feel so good. Also, the really high continuous damage too is really nice as well. It feels like this thing has like the old Kremlin anti-air before it got nerfed, and it also has the nicer Kremlin dispersion. If you have like the funny button, I think it does like the old, maybe does like the old Kremlin dispersion before it got nerfed. If you guys remember the good old days of when the Kremlin was way more of a monster, like it had really good accuracy long range, it had pretty much had a good accuracy like almost everywhere. It was a monster, but then they nerfed it, then they nerfed the anti-air. I still think to this day the Kremlin's anti-air, now they didn't, I think they nerfed both the anti-air damage and the anti-air structures like themselves, which wasn't really necessary. I didn't really see a need for them to also nerf the anti-air structures, but it is what it is. Kremlin is still one of the tankiest ships in the game, and this being a super Kremlin, it's not going to be any other as well. As you can see, I'm already at 2.2 million potential, so we are already racking up that potential damage, as you guys can tell. Oh boy, this thing is going to be so much fun to play in like a div. I'm going to have so much fun playing this. Pretty much whenever this video's out, you guys are probably going to be seeing me play this thing on stream. So if you guys are curious about like any more questions about it live, you'll probably see me playing this on stream in the upcoming future. Right now, my favorite super ship right now is the Edgar, pretty much a super minnow. I don't think, like, it's definitely a really powerful ship. At the same time, it comes with that like risk factor, you know, that risk factor, like, oh yeah, I could easily get death strike at any second, which that Edgar over there, luckily enough, you know, if that was me, I would be dead right now. But no, the dude has like the hand of God on his side, and of course I'm never gonna be able to hit him, so there's that. But as you can see throughout most of this match, I'm also pinging where the submarine is to hopefully get our battleship to hit him with the ASW. But as you can tell, I'm getting no luck. I don't think I hit a single ASW on that submarine this whole match. Like, I'm just really off my game for ASW drops this game. Sometimes I'm really good at it, and sometimes I'm not. At the same time, that submarine player was also really decent as well. He only did one ping at a time. And sometimes he did two, but he only did two if he was outside your ASW range, so you couldn't really hit him. So he pretty much played how he was supposed to play. Do one ping, just get the tracking, and then pretty much stop pinging and just not get spotted. Because normally if a submarine pings twice, you're a lot more likely to be able to hit it. If they ping once, it's a lot harder to be able to get the ASW off. Now, another thing to note, I am curious, what do you guys think about this auction system that they do for super ships? Do you guys like that sort of thing? I don't really mind it for being credits. I feel like it gives something for a lot of the older players that just have a crap ton of credits lying around. Like a way to where, hey, I can burn off this 3 billion credit farm that I have or something. But that's just how I see it. At the same time, not everyone's a fan of it. I don't really mind it. I don't mind the wait, just waiting for the 3 months. I'll probably not be auctioning for this ship, even though I kind of want to, but I don't want to go below a certain threshold of credit. And normally I don't enjoy playing a lot of super ships anyway. on my main account and stuff. Now, for my press account, sure, I'll play super ships all the time because I have ship requests, or my div mates are playing super ships, so I'll play with that. Kind of just to match the feel and whatever else. But yeah, as you can tell, this whole match I just suffered with this whole with the submarine, man. I just played it so terribly. Ugh, I was not happy with my ASW game in this match. Luckily enough, the battleships that were over here weren't supremely supremely pushy. I also was able to kind of farm them out as well and kind of get those good strikes on them, which is really nice. At least I got to showcase that. I don't remember if I got any funny buttons in this match. No, I did. I got one funny button earlier. Like, look at this. Look at this. He was right there. And, oh, the submarine also here had the other battleship still double pinged and didn't click the key to de-target that battleship. So he was trying to nuke me, but he messed up and forgot the desync. Because right there, I think he would have actually killed me if he didn't have a desync. And he could have actually used dummy torps too. From that distance, he was pretty much less than 3 kilometers away from me, and he still didn't hit the torps. He could have just used dummy torps, to be honest. Easily. He could have easily used the dummy torps there. He was 3 or 4 kilometers away. He was just right there, just right next to me. Luckily enough that he didn't do a very good job in that regard, but for the whole game, he was unspotted. But the main reason why he was unspotted and uncontested, our DD died a little bit early, so that's kind of a disaster. I wasn't really able to do much in that regard. But so this isn't really the best game, but at least like you guys get to see how tanky it is, what this ship can do when it's tanky. As you can also see, if you guys can notice those gun angles though, that is like, wow. Super nice gun angles. It makes it where you're able to do these really nice kiting angles where it's really hard for them to be able to do a lot of damage on you. That's like one thing I really enjoy about the Kremlin, is that really nice gut angles. So like if you're in a kiting position, it's really hard for them to kill you. So definitely really enjoyable there. Oh yeah, he's gonna, oh, there's the funny button. Let's see, do I get him here? I don't remember. Do I get him here? Oh! I almost got him. Close. It was close. But very nice. That's a very spicy salvo. Very nice indeed. I like it a lot. But now I'm a personal big fan of Kremlin, so I'm gonna be a little bit biased with my liking of this ship. But again, all my overview earlier is just non-biased. But going from like my personal view, though, I do love the Kremlin. I've always enjoyed it. Super fun ship, super tanky. It does its job. Does the job. Oh yeah, I wasn't using Kuznetsov either for these matches. Oh dang. So you guys can't really see that either. That's kind of sad. Whenever I do and am able to stream this ship, I'm definitely gonna put Kuznetsov on it, and I want to see how big that heal gets. Because you guys can see the heal right now is like 24,000, almost 25,000. That is that's a lot of heal, and you get, if I remember, you get 4 heals, like a 25,000 heal for 4. That's almost 100k. That's like 100k damage you're able to just heal up. It's super nice. It's super nice. And as you can see, I should have been slowing down. One mistake I made there, I will definitely call that out. I should have been slowing down whenever I saw those torps and doing a slight turn, because me kind of speeding up it gave the torps more time to be able to turn. That was my mistake there. I should have done like a slight turn and slow down. That would have made it a lot easier for me to be able to get those torps to miss. Because whenever he did the torps on the rear, and then I kept speeding up, it gave the torpedoes a lot more time to be able to hit me. So yeah. But hopefully they're able to kill this submarine. I know it's going to be kind of close because our team is going to cap, so kind of disaster in that regard. I was really hoping that they were going to be able to kill him because, yeah, he was kind of a menace through the whole game. But, yeah, I did have 4.5 billion potential, so right around that average where I was talking about earlier in the video. Yep, I did 130k damage, 2 kills. I was third on the team with a 1639 XP. Not bad, not bad. With what situation I was put into, it was definitely not bad. But yeah, again, super ships are credit, like they're just gonna take all of your credits. So definitely take note of that as well. Now, if you do put credit earning like the economic bonuses on the economic bonus for the credits, you will make positives in the ship, but you have to like use blues and you have to have like really good matches. But yep, that is going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like these kind of videos, definitely leave a like, leave a comment down below. But yep, if you guys have any questions, definitely let me know. But yep, this is OverlordBou, and I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys so much for watching.